I am somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody.
Welcome to the Saturday Morning Community Forum. I know that many of us have been watching the news. We've been watching PBS, watching the History Channel, watching all of the accounts of what's going on in Tulsa. And so today we will be able to share with you some perspectives on Tulsa from the vantage point of our international founder, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. We're going to put you in Tulsa so you can see what that massacre did to people who were living unequal but separate and functioning and had a Black Wall Street. And they were able to build businesses, build educational institutions, have churches, have families. And all of that was destroyed by white supremacists. And so the interesting thing about Tulsa, it didn't just start with Tulsa. So when we talk about this idea of reparations, repairing the damage done, we have to know that on this day, this week, is the anniversary of the assassination of Medgar Evers in Mississippi. There's a trail of bodies that have been casualties of the movement and the struggle for civil rights, justice, freedom, and equality. This week in history, we were reminded that former president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela, started his 27-year journey in prison fighting for justice against the apartheid regime in South Africa. This broadcast this week, we're going to share all of that with you. You'll hear from our founder. We're going to spend a great deal of attention to Tulsa and what it means today in the aftermath, 100 years later, from Black Wall Street to Wall Street. We have a session at the convention on that. We're going to have a session at the convention where we talk about Tulsa 100 years later, looking at Rosewood, the same kind of situation that happened in Rosewood. We'll look at what happened in Chicago after the Red Summer in Chicago, where a young African American was murdered merely for swimming in waters that moved towards Rainbow Beach, where we were not able to swim. We were not able to go to that beach and be outside because it was for whites only. At our convention this summer, July the 17th through the 21st, you're going to be able to witness and hear testimonies of those who were there and those who are still fighting today. And we're going to talk about what Dr. King said in his last book, Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community. We'll be talking a lot about that in the convention. I want you to get registered. Go to rainbowpush.org. Go right now and register for the Rainbow Push Convention. It's free. We want you to be a part of this movement for change. It's our time, it's our season. Every Saturday, we will have special programming leading you towards the convention. As Reverend Jackson would say to you today, all roads lead to July the 17th. We're going to start our convention on Saturday, July 17th. So every Saturday leading up to the convention, you'll get glimpses and snatches and sketches of what we're going to discuss in greater detail at our convention. Today, we're going to give you some aspects of the entertainment. The entertainment industry is full of a lack of diversity. You've watched many of the awards programs. We don't seem to see the number of African Americans receiving the awards in the entertainment industry that we deserve. This year was a little better than prior years. And so we're going to have some elements of the entertainment programming on this Saturday. And so you'll get to see some of the issues that you should be concerned about. You'll hear from some of the artists, their concerns and their challenges.
Hello, greetings. How are you? My name is Kalana Kale, and I am here to bring to you some valuable information regarding our upcoming conference right here with Rainbow Push Coalition. We have a power-packed conference that is going to bring you information regarding policy, equitable changes within our education, as well as technology, sports, entertainment. You do not want to miss this upcoming Rainbow Push Coalition conference. So it begins July 17th. That's right, Saturday, July 17th. And we have all kinds of information and people from even across the seas internationally going to be sharing with you information that this can help you go forth in your community. So please tune in, sign up, and make sure that you want to be a part of this exciting event. So right now, I would like you to participate and just listen on one of our entertainers that is going to be participating in the conference. And we have a whole line of entertainers that are going to participate with interviews and share the stage. It's going to be virtual, just like this. So, Mr. Archie Davis, thank you for joining us. We would like you to just begin by introducing yourself and sharing a little bit of information of who you are and what is your role in the entertainment industry.
How's it going? My name is Archie Davis, SVP of Marketing at RCA Records, co-founder of Proximity Media, which is a media company founded by Ryan Coogler, and co-founder of the OPM company. I also started Six Course Inc. and Music Group, which is my record label in partnership at RCA Records.
We know a little bit about you now, and we're excited that you are here to share this information with us. But you worked on a very, very powerful piece. I mean, just looking at and listening to you, you're very gung-ho and grounded in working and curating individuals by making sure that they have the tools that they need to succeed, not only with their own personal goals, but to catapult and be powerful, power-packed in the African American community and just in the entertainment and creative space in general. So with the recent work that you've done, Judas and the Black Messiah, the movie and the soundtrack, wow, kudos, all kind of snaps. I mean, we are just so very proud of you in that work. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I did work on the Judas and the Black Messiah movie and soundtrack. My role in that project, I was executive music producer of the film and also distributed the soundtrack through my record label, as well as executive music producer of the soundtrack.
So how was your role? And I mean, how did it even come about?
My role was to round up the vision of whatever the director, who was Shaka King at the time, was, and make sure that I was actually kind of elaborating on what his vision was for what this film would represent. And I'm thankful for the opportunity. I feel like we were able to make a masterpiece.
Dope. You all, I mean, I'm amazed. I'm excited to be talking with Mr. Davis. So I hope you all are excited to be listening, because this man has even earned an Oscar for this soundtrack. Like I said, we're very proud of you here at Rainbow Push, and everyone that has been privy to watch the movie as well as listen to the soundtrack. How did that feel to just earn such a prestigious award?
Oscar for this soundtrack. You know, and it's funny because it wasn't the entire soundtrack that won an Oscar. There was one song in the film, which was Fight For You by her. She and I had a conversation, I would say like October, November of last year, as we were trying to lock this project out, finish it up. She was like, you know, Arch, I really feel like I could deliver you a masterpiece. I'd say about a week and a half, 2 weeks later, I was blessed with the gift that she gave us in Fight For You. And, you know, to say that we knew that that song would have Oscar potential, we never really know. the Academy kind of makes their own decisions year after year, but I think the stars just really aligned for her this year. She's been having an incredible year, from the Super Bowl performance to Grammy Record of the Year win. That really helped set us up for an incredible Oscar award season.
We know that with artistry, it causes like-minded individuals to gravitate towards one another and to want to help each other go to the next level. I mean, visionaries, focus, right brain versus left brain, and just want to dig on into these projects. So what role did the soundtrack and the movie play in the culture? Everybody says we're giving it to the people. It's for the culture, and everything that's going on right now in the States, across the borders, all around the globe. So can you just enlighten us a little bit about this particular piece and this particular project? Why was it so important for the culture, to you and for those of us at large?
I think it's first off acknowledging that, like, the role this man played in the world, in Chairman Fred Hampton. I think for me, from the start, when we started this learning process by way of him and Mama Akua and Chairman Fred Hampton Jr., I think the legacy dictated the culture more than anything. We were able to shed light on an incredible man and a terrible, tragic assassination by the FBI. But I would definitely say that the culture that this bred was just, we're not stopping. And then a lot of the conversations I had with Mama Akua for Chairman Fred Hampton Sr. to be assassinated at the age of 21, here we are 50 years later. He didn't die. And I think the goal of the music that we created, the artists that we asked to be a part of it, the acting that was a part of the film, the time stamp that this all represented, was for those reasons, and really helps really, in a lot of ways, kind of, I guess the best way to put it is shine a light on the culture that we kind of want to see from ourselves. This was a project where I saw a lot of people come together, a lot of people that I never met before. And it felt like a labor of love all the way around. So I think that love is the culture, and that energy is what we were able to really display. But that's the vision of Shaka and Ryan and the entire film squad.
So you're about creating change activism within the entertainment industry, giving culture and creativity and light and color to the creative artists that you're working with and the project, and making sure that it's able to marry together. So with that being said, and working with artists and making sure that you execute the project effectively, how do you feel with the community and what's going on right now, the soundtrack itself? What are some of the pivotal points in creating this piece of music, as well as producing it and coming up with the headliners and the music that was going to really just speak to the culture, speak to the people, and speak across generations for what is going on right now with police brutality and the environment in our politics?
I think this movie is important because it makes sure that we don't forget. A lot of people don't know this about me, but my freshman year at college, I was accused of a shooting that happened that I wasn't at. Some frat guys said they saw a guy that looked just like me that was running with some guys that shot one of their frat brothers. And I had 3 private investigators following me for about 4 months. After that, I went into a real hole. Almost flunked out of college. I didn't have any family around except my cousin who was my roommate. But after we kind of figured that situation out, after they took me out of class and all my classmates thought I was a criminal, I decided to go back into my shell, and I started a radio show that I promoted through my MySpace page on campus. Kind of helped get me out of my shell a little bit, but it also led me in the right direction to do what I'm doing now. But my goal and my life's purpose since that moment has been to make sure that every child, every Black boy, every Black girl understands that this can happen to them also. Just because you're a good kid doesn't mean anything, and I think it's that awareness that this film brings to us, just to let us know, like, you're never too young. We're always a threat. There's always a want to eliminate us and the greatness that we possess.
I can completely feel that. Definitely. And I know our listeners can as well. So with a brief explanation of how and why this movie is so important, you've been able to share a lot with us today and, talk about how impactful this piece of work is to you and your ability to map out the dream of the writers, the creators, the psalmists is so important to your work so that it marries with your label and the other artists as well as the viewers and listeners. So can you just briefly talk to us a little bit about even more how that has been able to work together for you, making sure that you are creating a project that can be seen by an audience and heard by the overall listeners, so that we really get the point that you're trying to share with us?
The richness, and I don't mean rich in a monetary term, I mean rich in a sense of bond, love, family, integrity, respect, self-worth. Chairman was such a rich man. And I think for us to see that displayed for a man, forget the racism, the e-racism of what this was supposed to be, for us to be able to shed a light on this story in this time, post George Floyd, even though this movie was shot before George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor and all the other host of names that we could list. I think this shows us what that richness really represented and what we really look like when we pull together as a people, not Black people. I mean, as a whole, white, Asian, Black, everybody.
So in shifting the culture, in creating change in the industry, in being a power-packed artist and, philanthropist in your own right, then, I mean, what is next? What projects are on the horizon? Because you have done so much. And again, kudos and creativity and snaps and claps to everything that you have done. We thank you from the culture, from the bottom of our heart, with Rainbow Push and our listeners, our young people that have been able to see it and be a part and privy to this conversation and listening to this. So, I mean, what more? What's the next step? What is Mr. Archie Davis coming up with now? We are so eager to hear just a little bit. Give us just a little bit, because I know that you're working on a lot, and with a man that has so much integrity and goals embodied in him and his work, then I'm sure that there's a long list of projects that you have. But, give us just a little bit about what you're working on, please.
I'm currently finishing the Space Jam film. That'll be out July 16th, starring LeBron James and co-starring Don Cheadle. Incredible filmmaker and director by the name of Malcolm Lee, who's leading our entire charge in this project. Ryan Coogler is also producing that film alongside Maverick Carter and the Spring Hill Company, which is LeBron James's film company. Working on that, starting the process of what will be Creed 3, another project called Bitter Root that we're doing with Regina King. And then on the music side, really continuing to expand on the Six Course Music Group label. Artist by the name of Protege, who's from Jamaica, did a label with him and some incredible women. Artist by the name of Nana and the OPM Company with Dom Kennedy. Westside with Love 3 will be out this year. And I built a studio in Culver City. If you guys ever make your way out this way, would love the opportunity to show it to you. 12,000 square feet. Huge recording room, 4 writing rooms, conference room, podcast production room. But just continuing to expand and build.
Well, there you have it, everyone. Movies, music, goals. Oh my. We are so excited to have had you, visiting with us and having this brief conversation about going forward and what you have on the horizons. We thank you for spending this bit of time with us.
Looking forward to seeing you in July at the Rainbow Push Convention.
And like I said, everyone, you do not want to miss this conference that is coming up. Rainbow Push Coalition and all of our affiliates are making sure that we are coming together, bringing you a power-packed international conference starting once again July 17th. So make sure that you sign up and be a part of what we have to offer, because it is something that is going to be beneficial to the entire community. Have a great day.
We want to celebrate young people. Anybody that's graduating from kindergarten, 8th grade, high school, college, graduate school, we want to acknowledge you on our broadcast. Send us your picture. Tell us what school you're graduating from and your photo. Please send us a picture. We're celebrating graduates in the month of June. You have from now to June 15th. Get your picture in, get the information in so that you can be on our broadcast. We're going to do something really special for the 2021 graduating class. It's been a difficult year. It's been difficult for many of you, but this is going to be an exciting moment.
Push Excel's goal is to inspire students to strive for excellence in education in spite of personal, family, and community challenges that they might experience. How do we do this? By advocating for educational policies that guarantee equal funding for all students without regard to race or economic standing. By engaging parents, students, and teachers in pursuing high-quality education and striving for educational excellence at every level. And by forging partnerships with community-based and public sector stakeholders in education. Now, Push Excel is a national model program with the purpose of connecting principals, parents, popular personalities, and students in a bond and to support students at every level on the educational ladder. Now, we want you to become a member of the Rainbow Push Coalition and Push Excel. Your annual membership can help us to change policies that impact students, colleges, and universities all around the country. So step up and sign up today. Membership is only $35, and if you're a student or a senior, $15. Just go to our website, rainbowpush.org, and push join to become a member or push donate to support the Push Excel program. You can also text the word Push Excel, that's PUSHEXCEL, to 41444 on your cell phone, and you can give us any amount that you feel comfortable giving or call us at 773-256-2775. Wherever you are, you can support us as we keep pushing for you. And remember to keep hope alive.
This is Bishop Tavis Grant, the National Field Director for the Rainbow Push Coalition, here with Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson, our national founder and president, along with the new chapter president of our Tulsa Rainbow Push chapter here. We've been here commemorating and reflecting and remembering the Tulsa Massacre from 1921 to 2021. Reverend Jackson has made a commitment to this city, to its redevelopment, to its redemption, and recapitalizing it. And our new chapter president, along with our national spokesperson, Jonathan Jackson, this is the Right Reverend Pastor Robert Turner of the Vernon AME Church, historic church here on Black Wall Street.
18 hours of sheer destruction. 18 hours of men fleeing for their lives.
Hundreds gathered outside historic Vernon African Methodist Episcopal Church. It was nearly destroyed in the race massacre. Reverend Jesse Jackson acknowledging 100 years later that the country still hasn't reached true equality.
We will not give out, we will not surrender, we keep hope alive.
Some say when you get a chance to be where history happened, it is like you are a part of it. That's one of the reasons why so many people were in the Greenwood District to see for the first time ever a president in Tulsa to mark the 1921 race massacre.
To all the descendants of those who suffered, to this community, that's why we're here, to shine a light, to make sure America knows the story in full.
Hundreds came to Tulsa to remember and mourn the deaths from one of the darkest moments in American history. Some say it's great to know the president is giving the proper attention to what happened on May 31st, 1921, which until recently wasn't even taught in schools.
My fellow Americans, this was not a riot. This was a massacre. Among the worst in our history, but not the only one. And for too long, forgotten by our history. As soon as it happened, there was a clear effort to erase it from our memory, our collective memories, from the news and everyday conversations.
During Tuesday's speech, President Biden spoke about reparations for survivors, announcing steps to narrow the wealth gap separating black and white Americans, something Reverend Jesse Jackson says need to be done.
People burned up and the insurance company did not recognize their claims. We'll get those claims back. We'll get restitution. It's the right thing to do, you know. We love one another. Not being so angry and so mean, we'd be better off.
Jesse, I think I mentioned this to you. I thought after you guys pushed through with Dr. King, the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act, I thought we were moved. What I didn't realize, I thought we had made enormous progress, and I was so proud to be a little part of it. But you know what, Rev? I didn't realize hate's never defeated. It only hides. It hides. And given a little bit of oxygen, just a little bit of oxygen by its leaders, it comes out of there from under the rock like it was happening again, as if it never went away.
This whole country is focused today on what happened here a century ago.
A weekend of centennial events culminated with the dedication of a prayer wall at the Vernon AME Church on Greenwood Avenue.
We raise our hands to pray to you and to ask you to heal all those who are hurting.
In attendance, various faith leaders, including Reverend Jesse Jackson.
We ask that you bless this wall, allow those who come and touch it to feel your presence.
In prayer,
Ya Rabbal Alameen, O Creator of the universe, you know the atrocities that took place in these streets during the race massacre and have continued since then to our brothers and sisters.
United at a prayer wall as a symbol of hope and renewal to a brighter future.
Black Wall Street is on its way back. Pastor, say hello to our audience.
Hi, everybody. Good to be here. And I have great respect to Bishop Grant and to Jonathan Jackson.
Jonathan, you've been here and we've made tours. We've met with several people. The impact that this is having yesterday, hearing the president, Reverend Jackson being referenced, and the work of your father. Tell us how significant it is to now have a chapter here in Tulsa on Black Wall Street.
Well, I want to thank you first, Bishop Grant, for your tireless work, taking time away from your church, the ministry, on Sunday to come around the nation with my father, the Reverend Jackson, and help establish this chapter here. I want to say a very special thank you to the great AME pastor, Reverend Robert Turner. He has done something bold that only faith would lead you to do. Take a bullhorn to go in front of the Tulsa City Hall to awaken the people. He's done that day in and day out for the last 3 years since his great church has planted him in this historic church. He saw the 100th year anniversary and wanted to find a solution that he could tell you more about. And he saw a wall, the last surviving physical structure from the bombing that took place. And he had a big, bold, imaginative idea. I wanted him to tell you about it, but I want to thank him for reaching out to me just over a week ago. And as his plans were coming together and he knew the president of the United States was coming and he knew celebrities were coming, he says, "But where is Reverend Jesse Jackson?" And he called and says, "It won't be complete unless I can reach out, and if the Reverend is able to, whatever accommodations I need to make necessary, I want to bring the Reverend Jesse Jackson, our missing link, the person that's held it all together, that pushes us towards the future." Reverend Turner, thank you again, and congratulations on being our state president. And please share some words on why the big idea behind the need to do something with a once torn down raggedy wall. What did you see that wall role in the future?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for being here. It means a lot to myself personally and the Tulsa community to have the preeminent organization for social justice and civil rights, Rainbow Push Coalition, be here in Tulsa. I'm grateful for all the work that you and your father do, and for you also, Bishop Grant. And so what we had at Vernon was just an exterior wall that was really deteriorating, and we put some stucco on the outside of it to make it more fire retardant after the massacre, because obviously folks don't mind burning down churches. And so the vision God gave me after doing several tours of this church and this community was have a place for people to go where they could take their burdens, where they could take the anguish they were feeling from learning this traumatic history, and to find a place of spiritual renewal. And not just let it be a space for Christians only or members of our church only, but open up to the world. Because honestly, racism is not just something that is owned by Christians, or you have racism in every religion and creed. And so this will be a prayer wall this is a prayer wall now for racial healing for all faiths and all backgrounds to come. And the inspiration came actually from the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem, where the Temple Mount that survived. And this is our Temple Mount. This is where we saw trauma and were wailing 100 years ago today. And to have this space for the world, we hope everybody can come and see and visit and take part and learn this history as we seek to rebuild historic Greenwood back.
Well, we're excited about the future, and we thank God for the work and legacy. 55 years, the work and legacy of Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson. You see the address at the bottom of the screen, www.rainbowpush.org. You can call us at Dr. King's Workshop, our national headquarters, 773-373-3366 on your dial, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit us on Twitter and Instagram. We are keeping hope alive, and Tulsa is on its way back. We want to say to the victims that we had an opportunity, the survivors, 107 years old, Jonathan, Viola Fletcher, keeping the torch high and keeping our dignity and our righteous indignation to turn this around. God has truly given us beauty for ashes, and we're keeping hope alive.
Hello, Rainbow Push family. I'm so excited to be able to extend to you an invitation to our international conference. We are going to do it in 2021 in a very virtual manner, but I want you to go to rainbowpush.org and register for our international convention. It's going to take place on July the 17th through the 21st, and I want you to be involved. So I'm giving you a special invitation from Cameron to go online, register, www.rainbowpush.org, register for the international convention. We're here in beautiful Tulsa, Oklahoma, as we've just commemorated the 100th anniversary of the Tulsa Race Massacre. We have taken in so much this weekend, this week. It has been a joy, a privilege, and an honor, though it's a solemn occasion because we know that it was not joyous on May 31st to June the 1st, 1921. But here we are 100 years later to make sure that restitution is given, that reparations are given, and that redemption is given. And so I'm grateful to be here. I've met so many people, but there's someone that I really want you to meet. I got a chance to talk with our new family member, Antoine Jackson. Just recently graduated from high school. He's 18 years old, on his way to Langston University. But here's the thing. He, at 18 years old, just graduated, was appointed by Mayor Halt to be a youth councilman in Ward 7 of Oklahoma City, and I want you to hear from him now. So, Antoine, what do you think, even though we're down here for a negative commemoration, because we know the Tulsa Massacre was as deadly as it was and as horrific as it was, but what do you think as a Oklahoman, if that's a word? It is. Okay, as an Oklahoman, what do you think are some positives that we can draw out of this tragedy?
Well, I feel like in every instance you can take your pain into your purpose. And at this, we look at it took 100 years for us to come together. The commission was formed in 1997, and it took 20.
What commission was that?
The Tulsa Race Fire Commission. So they started legislation in 1997 to form this commission to start fundraising. And so far, we've raised $30 million, and that's going to go towards going back to community, minority businesses, cultural events. It funded Legacy Fest. It gained us national headlines. They can start scholarships. It can educate us as well, because in this state, we don't really educate on the Tulsa Race Fire Commission. I would never talk about that in school. But luckily, I come from luckily I come from a family that knows the importance of their history, so I learned about it. But it's in the state of
because you're a fourth generation Oklahoman, is that right? Fifth generation Oklahoma. And so that runs deep in your family, even as well as the families of Oklahoma. So in that same breath, as young people, what do you think we can do, should do, as young people, as a nation, to kind of make sure that 100 years from now, our grandchildren aren't at another commemoration of another massacre or something that happened of this magnitude? What do you think young people can do, should do?
The question isn't what we can do. The question is what we can't do. Because it's unlimited possibilities of what we can do for this community. It's unlimited ways that we can volunteer, we can help, we can be proactive, we can fight for social justice. Because if you think about it, Mr. Jesse Jackson and all the state legislators today, they served for 50 years. They don't have 50 years left in them today. We do. So that's why we have to be proactive. We have to gain mentors. We have to make our seat at the table. And we have to be willing to learn. Because in the end of the day, we're going to be the leaders of tomorrow. We have to be prepared. We have to know our history. We have to know our failures. We have to know our setbacks. And we also have to know our wins. We have to know where we gain. Like, we need to look at this 100th anniversary. We raised $30 million to go back into our community. And so now we should look at that and think, wow, they did this today. So what are we as young people going to do tomorrow?
And that sounds like what are we going to do is get involved with things like the Rainbow Push Coalition. Certainly, all of the young people should be going and joining the Rainbow Push Coalition. Certainly, it behooves all of us to be socially proactive, to be civically, economically, and socially informed. So I want you to go to rainbowpush.org and take out a membership. All of you, I'm talking to everybody under 30 years old. Go to rainbowpush.org as soon as you see this. Join the Rainbow Push Coalition. These are the kinds of things that we do. These are the kinds of commemorations that we were not taught about. Antoine, as a fifth generation Oklahoman, I could talk about the commemoration and I can talk about what I think, but you got boots on the ground. Your family has been here. You got lineage in Oklahoma. So what do you want for the young people to take away from all of this, from everything that you've taken in, really your whole life, but just this weekend, knowing who your family is, of course, Senator Pittman, State Rep Pittman, what do you want the young people to take away?
We need to be empowered, and we need to be proud to lead forward. And that's why we need to be proactive. That's why we need to take part in organizations like the Rainbow Push Coalition and join memberships so that we can continue to fight for social justice. So that when 100 years come from today, we won't have to deal with some of the same injustices that we deal with today.
And now we have a whole healthcare segment, access to healthcare. What has happened in terms of COVID? Where are we? Where are we trying to go? What do we need to do? Are we opening up completely? What should we do? How many people have been tested? Well, we have our own health commission. It's headed by Dr. Leon McDougall, who is president of the National Medical Association, the largest association of African American doctors in the world. Dr. McDougall will share with you elements of our health manifesto. Dr. Deborah Furholden, immunologist, a tremendous person. She's at the University of Michigan. Those two will give us the elements of our manifesto. We'll talk about health inequities and what we as a people must do to provide not only for African Americans, but really how do we deal with making health more accessible and better for those who are living on the margins of life.
On behalf of the Rainbow Push Coalition, I'd like to welcome you to a candid COVID conversation with Dr. Leon McDougall and Dr. Deborah Furholden. I'm your moderator today, Yvonne Lewis. I am the founder and founding director of the National Center for African American Health Consciousness. The Rainbow Push Coalition joins with the National Center to bring you this very special conversation today. There's a lot that's going on around with COVID in these last few months, and along with the president of the National Medical Association, Dr. Leon McDougall, and the Associate Dean for Public Health Integration at Michigan State University, Dr. Deborah Furholden, we have some good information for you here today. Dr. McDougall, let's start this conversation off with you. You've done a lot of work around COVID, as we heard in your bio, but please tell us what, and speak to us about public health, the Public Health Manifesto, and what's happening with the task forces that you serve on.
Thank you so much, Director Lewis, for serving as moderator. And so to start, I just want to speak to the importance of the Rainbow Push Coalition and Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr. and convening leaders across the country to speak to this most important time that we are in. I reflect back to last March of 2020, and Dr. Furholden and the RPC staff, we were meeting, and Reverend Jackson said, we need a 10-point plan and we need a manifesto. And so we worked together to put together that manifesto that in fact was published on April 15th, and it's recorded or published on the Rainbow Push Coalition website. And we expanded that 10-point plan to a 12-point plan to include Africa and to include workforce diversity. And we were speaking to issues of the time and are of that time now. So we talked about physical distancing. We talked about the importance of wearing a mask. We talked about the importance of washing hands. And then at that time, Director Lewis, there was a big concern about having access to diagnostic testing. And we would see these lines of SUVs rolling up to get the diagnostic testing. And we spoke to the fact that, well, what if you don't own an SUV? So we advocated for having walk-up centers for testing wherever these drive-in centers for testing were located, and that they be within walking distance of a source of public transportation. And now that's present here today when we talk about vaccine access and being in places where the community can receive vaccinations. And I know that's an issue now, and we're really advocating for vaccine availability and usual sources of care. So more so moving to that person's office of primary care, and as the age continues to descend for having approval for the vaccine, it looks as though now with the Pfizer vaccine, there's approval to age 12, and that's going to continue to descend as information comes back on these clinical trials. And it's anticipated that this will continue down to 2 months of age. So that's a process. And I know with the concerns about opening schools and safety in schools, so now it's middle school essentially and up that are able to get these vaccines. So and so I just stop there for now, but there's a lot that the manifesto continues to speak to in this time we are in now.
Thank you, Dr. McDougall and Dr. Holden, because when you talk about vaccine availability, at one point we could hardly get vaccines in our community. Now we have an overabundance, well, I shouldn't say an overabundance, but we have a lot of vaccines in our community and people are still having questions. What do you say to them about how to get the questions answered and what they should do with this opportunity now that we have?
So the first thing that I would say to people is the vaccine is a very important layer of protection in our turning the tides on this pandemic. It's not perfect, nothing is, but it's very important. So all of the prevention measures that we talk about, like washing your hands and covering your cough and your sneeze, watching your distance, all of those things, avoiding large crowds, all of those things are things that are right in people's hands that they can do. And then we've got all of these other important governmental layers of protection. We've seen workplaces improve their air ventilation systems. We've, had laws in different states, requiring people to mask or limiting and restricting the number of people that can be inside of restaurants and things like that. There's been a push to encourage people to move events when possible to outdoors, and more seasonal weather has afforded us that opportunity. If we can manage to keep a lot of those basic prevention measures in place, that's what we did earlier in the pandemic to flatten the curve. And by flatten the curve, I mean get the numbers down and keep them down. We did that and had a lot of success with it. If people can stay the course with those things, and then we add the vaccine to that picture, it could potentially be the thing that will really tip the scales for us. Because the goal is prevention. We don't want people to get sick and have to recover or struggle, or as Dr. McDougall shared, have the unfortunate outcome of having to bury your partner or your spouse of 20 years, or one of your parents, or, a loved one. Our goal is to prevent people from getting sick in the first place. And that is what the vaccine is providing us, an opportunity to figure out re-engagement, right? Because our other prevention measures involve keeping your distance from people or covering your face. A mask, covers your face. I want to show off my beautiful smile, but I can't do that with a mask on. I got to really show it with my eyes. The vaccine is an important layer of protection that really does speak to prevention. I can't stress that enough. Prevention is the key here.
So Dr. McDougall, yes, please share.
And there's some incentives too. So if you're fully vaccinated, you can actually have a conversation with another person that's fully vaccinated. So it's not just, you don't necessarily even have to wear a mask, so if you're fully vaccinated, it gives you some liberties in regards to family members who are also fully vaccinated but still taking precaution and so forth. So
thank you both for that, because I hear people so often say the vaccine isn't the end all to be all, so why should I get it? But you're saying it allows us some additional privileges now that we won't have if we're not vaccinated, but it also gives us the opportunity to get connected again to some of our families and friends. And we look forward to opportunities that you can learn more about what you can do to be safe during COVID.
Now, we have several ways for you to get involved with PUSH today. First of all, you can become a member. That's very simple. You can go to rainbowpush.org and you can pay $35 if you're under age 65 and not a student, or you can pay $15 if you're a senior or a student and become a paid member of the Rainbow Push Coalition. Membership matters. And then the second thing, if you know of a student who's in high school, 9th through the 12th grade, they should be a part of our virtual college tours. This year, because of COVID-19, we're having virtual tours. We're going to some 8 historic Black colleges, but we're going to other colleges. Have them register for the virtual college tour. That way they can begin to decide early on where they might want to go to college, what college offers for them. The third thing you can do is, if you know a student who will graduate from 8th grade, 12th grade, college, community college, or graduate school, have them send their photo and a 2-line, 2-sentence bio, which says the school they're graduating from, the year, the grade they're graduating from, so that we can pay tribute to them in our baccalaureate service on June the 27th. That's like a graduation program. We're having a graduation program to celebrate students that you know. Have them send a photo, 2-line bio. We want to salute them June 27th. Right now, you can register for the Rainbow Push Convention. It's virtual. All you have to do is register. You're going to get so much information. You're going to get so many connections that you normally would not have. You're going to be ready to join us when we leave the convention. We're going to be taking some aggressive actions to end voter suppression. We're going to deal with housing. We're going to deal with education, educational equity. We're going to deal with opportunities for jobs and contracts. You don't want to miss this year's convention. Register now. Go to rainbowpush.org. It's only $35. Everybody can be in. Everybody can serve. It's something that you can do.
For 2021, we're excited to get more people engaged and involved in Rainbow Push, supporting the programs of Push for Excellence and the Citizenship Education Fund. Now, if you're interested in public policy and you want to help change the policies that impact those who are incarcerated, you can do so. If you're interested in impacting public policies that benefit education and businesses with social economic solutions, you can do that as well. You can become a policymaker by becoming a member of Rainbow Push right now. Now, if you believe in the scholarships that we've given to thousands of students each year, you can help us out. We've awarded more than $10 million in scholarships year to date. Now, you can help young people achieve a higher education by becoming a member of Rainbow Push right now for the annual fee of only $35. And if you're a student or a senior, it's only $15. You can help us make a difference in the lives of millions. Now, if you watch us every week, or if you listen to us on the radio, or if you're viewing on social media, we need you to become a member. And how do you become a member? It's simple. Visit us at rainbowpush.org and press join. Maybe you'd like to support the work of Push. If so, it's really simple. You can do so by texting the word PUSH, that's P-U-S-H, to 41444 on your cell phone, and you can give any amount that you feel comfortable giving, or you can call us at 773-256-2775 or go to rainbowpush.org and push donate. So whenever you want to support, you can do it from anywhere. So keep pushing, because we're going to keep pushing for you and keep hope alive.
After the difficult year that we've had, and with our city beginning to open back up, it's essential that we get our young people outdoors and keep them engaged as they chase after their dreams, both literally and figuratively. The Race to Gately will do just that by giving young people across our city a chance to have fun with other young people their age and to restore their sense of normalcy through an exciting sports competition.
It's very exciting to walk into this facility at Gately because we've had no indoor facility dedicated to track for young kids in the neighborhood. Track has a very illustrious history in Chicago. There's been 56 Olympians from Chicago. With this new facility at Gately, we can go back and tie in the history from Frank Lane to Jesse Owens to Ralph Metcalf to Tidy Pickett to Alexandria Anderson and just bring that full circle and have those new stars again. We're excited about the Race to Gately because it gives the neighborhood kids a chance to get on the blocks and show who's the fastest kid in the neighborhood.
I'm excited because we're finally getting track and field into the city again. I think it gives the new coaches a chance to come to an indoor facility and bring their kids so they can actually feel the track versus being in the hallway, in the alleys or the parking lots where we used to do.
The Race to Gately will get a lot of new kids excited about running track because everybody can't play basketball and football, but a lot of kids can run and they can jump and they have agility. So this facility allows those other kids to show them they have some skills they didn't even realize, and from that they can get college scholarships and develop a lifelong love of running and participating.
We want you to be a part of this magnificent event, the Chicago Track and Field Meet. I want to thank the members of the Rainbow Push Coalition, City Government, and Mayor Lightfoot in a very special way for her dedication to the proposition. You're going to give us a chance. So run on, run on, run on, run on. Keep hope alive. Keep running. Dr. Kim, I went to jail with a group of 7 students, July 17, 1960, almost 60 years ago. We never stopped moving. I lost a few of jail cells and death. We never stopped moving. I thought it was time to write some of it down so the older generation can learn how we did, and what we did, and how global it was. Whether speaking about Mandela in South Africa, India, Qatar, Gandhi in India, here at home. This book tells the story, so please get it and give it to your friends. Read it, let's argue about it, let's discuss it.
Yep, so the book is Keeping Hope Alive, Sermons and Speeches of Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. It's quite a good collection. You know, we've got sermons and speeches from around the globe because you have made such a global impact, not just here in the U.S., but around the world.
Thank you for tuning in to our International Saturday morning broadcast. We need your support. Here are ways to give to Rainbow Push Coalition. Text PUSH, P-U-S-H, to 41444 to support the work of Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. and Rainbow Push Coalition. When you shop, Amazon gives. Visit Amazon Smile and select Push for Excellence as your charitable organization by starting your shopping at smile.amazon.com.
Get involved with the movement.
Somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody.
Join the movement.
If you're not a member, become a member.
I am somebody.
Fighting the most important battles for freedom and justice for all.
You made us change. Oh, trying to bring closer.
Join Rainbow Push.
But you're not pushing me away.
Join the movement.